My name is Clara. I am 29 years old. I live in a small, plain room above a flower shop in the heart of a bustling city. The streets below are a constant symphony of car horns and crowded markets, but up here my life is muted and quiet. My room is spare, holding only a bed, a chair, and a single window that looks out onto the chaos. I have no kitchen, just a microwave to warm my simple meals. I don't require much. A place to rest my head is enough. My days begin at the same time, every time, 6 a.m. I go downstairs to the shop and tend to the flowers. I trim the stems, clean the leaves, and arrange bouquets for the day's customers. People buy flowers for all of life's moments, for birthdays, for apologies, for grief. I offer them a polite smile and a quiet, "Have a nice day," before retreating back to my work. My breaks consist of weak tea and dry toast. It's a routine, a cycle I repeat day after day. People assume I must adore flowers to be surrounded by them constantly. But I don't feel love. I don't feel much of anything, really. Just a deep, persistent weariness. I wasn't always this way. There was a time before, a time filled with light and laughter. I had my mother and we shared a small, beautiful dream. We planned to open a little shop together. She had a gift for growing things, for coaxing life from the soil. I had a love for shaping clay, for creating pottery. We wanted to combine our passions, a place where her flowers would fill my handmade vases. A happy life built together. We even had a name for it, Roots and Rain. I went to college to study ceramics. I loved the feel of the cool, damp clay in my hands, the way it yielded and transformed into cups, bowls, and plates. My mother was my biggest supporter. She would bring me tea as I worked late into the night, her smile radiating pride at my creations. My future felt clear: finish my degree, open our shop. But one day a small cough started. We dismissed it at first, but it lingered and then worsened. Soon she was in the hospital. She was sick. The doctor used words I didn't understand, but the look on his face told me everything. My mother looked so tired, a shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. I dropped out of college and moved back home to be with her. I took the job at the flower shop down the street. I spent my days bringing her soup, washing her hair, and making sure she took her medicine. She still managed to smile at me, but I could see the pain she tried to hide in her eyes. She was fighting to be strong for me. One evening, I came home from work and opened the door to silence. A heavy, unnatural quiet. I walked to her room. She was lying in bed, perfectly still. I called her name, but there was no response. When I touched her hand, it was cold. She had passed away peacefully in her sleep. I sat beside her for hours, holding her cold hand, my tears falling silently. I begged her to come back, but she was gone. After the funeral, I couldn't bear to stay in our old home. Every corner held a memory that was too sharp, too painful. I moved into the small, empty room above the flower shop. The owner was kind and offered it to me for a low rent. I had no family left. My dream had died with my mother. I packed my pottery tools into a cardboard box and pushed it to the back of my closet, burying that part of myself along with it. My life became a flat line. I worked, I ate alone, and I sat by my window, watching the world go on without me. I saw children laughing, couples holding hands. I felt like a ghost, alive but not truly living. Then one afternoon, the sky opened up, and a heavy rain began to fall. I was mopping the floor near the entrance when a man stepped inside, dripping wet. He looked tired, with lines of worry etched around his eyes. He clutched a wooden box under his arm. "Sorry," he said, his voice soft. "I just need to get out of this downpour for a minute." I looked at him. He didn't seem like a threat. He seemed quiet like me. "It's all right," I replied. "You can stay." He offered a small, grateful smile. "Thank you. It smells incredible in here." "It's the flowers," I said. "I miss this smell," he mused. "I used to live near a garden." His name was Liam. He was new to the city, a carpenter who made tables and chairs. He'd come from a small town by the sea, trying to start over. He didn't explain why, only saying, "The sea took too much from me." He left after the rain slowed, and I didn't expect to see him again. But he came back the next day, holding a chair with a broken leg. "Could I possibly fix this in here?" he asked. "My apartment is too loud. I like the quiet in your shop." I agreed, and he set up his tools in the back. After that, he became a regular presence. He'd bring small projects to repair, a picture frame, a wooden toy, a wobbly table. He would drink tea while he worked. Sometimes we talked, but mostly we existed together in a comfortable silence. It wasn't heavy or awkward. It was soft and peaceful. One evening, as I was wiping down the counter, he looked at me thoughtfully. "You work with flowers," he said. "You work with life. That's a beautiful thing." I looked down at my hands. "I don't feel beautiful. I just do what I have to do." "Still," he insisted gently, "you give color to other people's lives, even when you feel gray inside." His words struck a chord deep within me. That night, I went upstairs and cried for the first time in years. My gaze fell on the closet where I'd hidden my past. I opened the door and pulled out the dusty box. My pottery tools were inside, just as I'd left them. I touched a block of clay. It was hard and dry. I wasn't ready. I closed the box and pushed it back into the darkness. The next morning, a small paper bag was waiting for me at the shop's entrance. Inside was a broken teacup, its cracks mended with lines of gold. It was an old technique, making something more beautiful for having been broken. A note was tucked inside. It read, "The heart heals in small pieces, not all at once. L." I held the cup, my fingers tracing the golden seams. I sat down and cried again for my mother, for my lost dream, for myself. I cried because, for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of something other than emptiness. That night, I opened the box of clay again. I placed a piece on a wooden board and slowly added water. My hands felt clumsy and unsure, but as I worked the clay, it grew warm and pliable beneath my fingers. I formed a small, simple bowl. It was uneven and imperfect, but it was mine. When Liam came the next day, he saw the bowl sitting on a shelf. He didn't say anything, but the warm smile in his eyes said everything I needed to hear. I started making one bowl each night, then two. I set them on a small table in the back of the shop. Soon, customers began to notice them. One woman asked, "Can I buy one of these?" I was stunned, but I said, "Yes." Liam started bringing me flowers from the market. "These are for your shelf," he'd say. We began to talk more, sharing the quiet sorrows we both carried. He told me about his daughter. She was 10 when she died. He didn't say how, just that he thought he would never be able to breathe again afterward. I looked at him, and for the first time I felt truly seen. "You saw me when I had disappeared from myself," I told him. He smiled softly. So did you. The shop still smells of roses, but now there's an undercurrent of damp earth and clay. My small room is no longer empty. It's filled with pots and cups waiting to be fired. The light is starting to filter in again. It's soft, but it's real. I made one bowl each night, then I made two. I worked slowly, patiently. I made mistakes, but I didn't stop. The clay felt like an old friend in my hands. I wasn't fast, but I was no longer afraid. I cleaned the finished bowls and arranged them on a small table in the shop, placing little blossoms inside each one. One day, a customer paused by the table. "Did you make this?" she asked, picking up a bowl with a simple blue glaze. "Yes," I said. "It's simple," she remarked, "but it feels warm." Then she asked, "How much is it?" $5, I replied. She paid me and took it home. It was the first piece I had sold. I stood there for a long moment, looking at the empty space on the table. I felt something stir deep inside me. It wasn't quite happiness or pride. It was something softer, more fragile. Maybe it was hope. Liam came by that evening with a gift, a round, smooth wooden tray he had made. "This is for your bowls," he said, placing it on the table. "Thank you," I smiled. He nodded, then glanced at my hands. "You have clay on your fingers," he observed. I looked down and saw the gray smudges. "I forgot to wash up," I laughed quietly. He smiled back. "It means you're alive again." Our conversations deepened, not with grand declarations, but with small, shared truths. He told me about his job at a woodshop outside the city, how he disliked the noise but stayed for the work. He said the quiet of the flower shop helped him think. One rainy evening, as we sat sipping tea by the window, he looked out at the glistening street. "My daughter used to love the rain," he said, his voice barely a whisper. He told me about her. She was 10 with a soft laugh and a love for red shoes and banana cake. He spoke of the winter she got sick, of the hospital she never came home from. His voice trembled slightly. "After that, my wife left. She couldn't stay, and I couldn't ask her to." I didn't know what to say, so I simply placed my hand on the table near his. He looked at me, and I found my voice. "I lost my mother. She was my only family." I thought I would never smile again. He nodded, a silent understanding passing between us. Then he said, "You saw me when I couldn't see myself. You helped me feel again." "So did you," I replied. A few days later, on my way home, I passed a small, empty storefront with a "For Rent" sign in the window. The walls were white, the floors were old wood, and a large front window let in the afternoon light. It looked perfect. I stood there for a long time before walking away, telling myself it was impossible. I had no money, no time. I wasn't ready. But the next morning, Liam was waiting for me, holding a piece of paper. "I saw the sign, too," he said. "Let's go look." "I can't rent a shop," I protested. "I have no money." "I can help," he said firmly. "We'll fix it up together. We'll paint the walls and use old tables. You bring the flowers and the bowls. I'll bring the wood and the love." I looked at him, my heart pounding. "Are you sure?" "Yes," he said, his eyes certain. "You're ready." And so we did it. We scrubbed the floors and painted the walls a clean, bright white. Liam built shelves and small wooden benches. I filled the shelves with my pottery, placing fresh flowers in the bowls. I brought a few things from my room, a photo of my mother, a scarf she'd knitted, the teacup with the golden crack. Liam painted a sign by hand. We called the shop Clara's Light. We opened on a spring morning. At first, only a few people wandered in, but word spread. People loved the simple charm of the flowers and the handmade bowls. Some asked if I would teach their children pottery. I started giving small classes on the weekends, teaching them to shape clay. You don't have to be perfect, I'd tell them. You just have to feel it. I kept my morning job at the flower shop and spent my afternoons in my own studio. Liam visited often, bringing food or just sitting quietly in a corner while I worked. One evening, after I had locked up, we sat on the floor drinking tea by candlelight. "You are so strong, Clara," he said. "You love through your pain. You shine even when you're tired." Tears welled in my eyes. I still miss her. I still feel empty some days. "That's okay," he said, taking my hand. Love doesn't erase pain. It just gives you new breath. My heart felt open and vulnerable. "My heart has cracks," I whispered. "That's okay," he repeated softly. "The cracks are where the light gets in." Then he leaned in and kissed me. It was gentle and soft, like sunlight on a quiet morning. In that moment, I didn't feel broken. I felt whole, cracks and all. Now my days are simple but full. I work at the flower shop, smiling at customers. Then I walk to my studio, a space that smells of clay and fresh blooms. Children come in with their bright energy and shape the clay with their tiny, eager hands. Liam visits in the evening, and we sit by the window, our comfortable silence speaking volumes. I still talk to my mother sometimes, whispering to the evening sky. "Can you see me now?" I think she can. I think she smiles when she sees my hands covered in clay again. The ache of missing her will never leave, but I am no longer lost. I am here. I am trying. I am loving. One morning, I found a note taped to the studio door. "Thank you, Miss Clara. I love the clay," it read. "My mom says I smile more now." It was from Lily, a shy 8-year-old who came every Saturday. I pinned the note to the wall. Later that week, Liam brought me a gift, a small wooden box containing a new set of pottery tools. "You're a teacher now," he said. "You need good tools." We sat by the window and he looked at the flowers. "Your mother would be proud." I held his hand. "I hope so. You are living a good life now," he said. "So are you," I replied. A woman with a camera came in a few weeks later. She was a reporter for the city paper. I shared my story with her, about my mother, the flower shop, and how clay helped me heal. A few days later, Liam showed me the newspaper. There on the last page was a photo of me in my studio, surrounded by my work. The headline read, "Flowers, Clay, and Light." More people came after that, not just to buy things, but to talk, to share their own stories of loss and healing. One evening, Liam and I sat on a park bench. "I never thought I'd be happy again," he confessed. "But you showed me I could be." "I didn't know I could love again," I said, "but I do." He smiled. "Let's not talk about forever. Let's just talk about today." "Yes," I agreed. "Today is enough." So this is my story. I healed by making one bowl and then another. I cried when I needed to. I let someone hold my hand. I open the door just a crack at first and let the light come in. I don't know what comes next, but I know I'll face it with clay on my hands, flowers by the window, love in my heart, and Liam by my side. Thank you for listening.